Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's good to be back. I thought today I'd share with you a few art purchases I made. Not a lot, just a few things that I purchased recently, and also I'll be doing a spot of swatching. I'll be swatching the Rosa Gallery Botanical watercolor set that I purchased. But first, I thought I'd share with you a few other things that I bought too. So I bought two Roman small watercolors, Lava and Forest Green, and I'll be probably swatching these in a different video. I also purchased 4 more watercolor tubes by Rosa Gallery. This is called Violet Black, Indanthrene Grey, Carbon Red and Cobalt Grey. I thought those colours looked really interesting and I'd give them a try. Put those to one side. I also purchased another one of my Bauhong watercolour sketchbooks, which I really love. And I run out of a lot. So this is hot pressed 100% cotton. Really recommend these. They really are a nice sketchbook to work in. I purchased also some brushes. This is the Escoda Reserva Kalinsky brush in a number 2. So it's a round pointed brush. And this is a travel brush. It is by Escoda again. It's the Escoda Ultimo. And I saw these brushes for the first time on Jackie Peacock's YouTube channel. She was showing some of her favourite art materials of the year, I think. And yeah, I saw these and I thought I'd give them a go because they look so nice. So huge thanks to Jackie Peacock, because without her I wouldn't have found out about these. Now, these may not look very exciting. Well, they're erasers, but I really do love the Soft Art Eraser by Derwent. I found it to be the best eraser for my watercolour paper so far. It's very gentle and it doesn't damage the delicate surface of the watercolour paper, so I recommend this for watercolour artists. I purchased some, let me show you here, some watercolour postcards. I have a thing about watercolour postcards. When I see them, I always want to buy them. So I bought these. These are watercolor postcards. They feel like they are a rough surface rather than a cold pressed surface. So those will be nice for some really heavily granulating watercolors to be used. And finally, I have my watercolors that I will be swatching today. These Rosa Gallery Botanical watercolors, and I have unwrapped them so they're ready to go so that we can swatch them in my watercolor sketchbook and see what they look like. I will set everything up and I'll be doing that in a second. I'll be right back. I'm back. I've brought my water, my palette and my Rosa Gallery Botanical palette, and I'm ready to swatch. So the first colour I'll be swatching is Titanium White, which is PW6. I'm going to do mass tone first. It's not going to show up very well on the camera, I'm afraid, but I would like to swatch it nonetheless. Okay, it looks quite opaque. I should have drawn a black line. I always forget to do that. And diluted, again, it's just not going to show up. You're just going to see like a little puddle of water probably on the camera. Next we have cadmium lemon, which is PY35. So this is going to be a cool yellow, quite opaque as it's a cadmium. I forgot to mention that I purchased these colours from the shop Art Miranda. It was the first time that I purchased from them. Everything went smoothly. The price of the whole box was around 36 euros, I think, and I think that is around $39. So yeah, just so that you know what the price is. So it's a really good price for 24 watercolors. The next color we have is cadmium yellow light, which is PY35 again. Where did that come from? And this is a warmer yellow. It's very creamy. I did pre-wet my palette because I do that with all my watercolors that are in half pans. I like to pre-wet them a little bit. So yeah, and the colours are lifting off beautifully from the pans. It's a lovely warm yellow. Next we have cadmium yellow deep, which is PY35 and PO20. So two fairly opaque colours there. This is like a warmish, this is like a happy orange. A happy orange. There we go with the diluted version. I am swatching in my Bauhong cold press watercolour sketchbook. It's 100% cotton. The next colour is cadmium orange, which is PO20 and PY35. So I assume that there is more PO20 in here than there is PY35 because it's the same, basically the same pigments in the cadmium yellow deep. But yeah, there's more of the PO20 in there. Very pretty, very opaque, but yeah, that is no surprise with those two pigments in there. I don't usually use cadmiums. I find them quite... I find that when I'm mixing with cadmiums, they do tend to become a little bit muddy easily. So avoid them. Also, there are people that prefer not to paint with cadmiums because they are toxic. So you have to be careful when using them. Next we have cadmium red light, which is PR108 and PO20. This feels very opaque again. Whoa, yeah. These are some very opaque watercolors. Very pigmented. and very opaque. I'm always pleasantly surprised when I'm swatching Rosa Gallery watercolours. They feel so pigmented and creamy to use, and they're priced so reasonably. Next we have Bright Red, which is a mixture of PO73 and PR254. Mass tone first. Whoa, that is vibrant. That is a very vibrant red. Wonky circle. I'm trying to avoid it. Trying to avoid the wonkiness there. And diluted. Much more desaturated, diluted. It is a pretty red. Next we have Madder Red, which is PR177 and PR264. This is going to be a cool red. Yep. I'm going to have to move my palette a little bit. Yeah, much cooler. Oh, wonky circle. Wonky. I always start out well and then I go wonky. And let's dilute that. Yeah, that is much cooler, much more desaturated than the bright red. Next we have Madder Rose, which is an interesting mix of PV19 and PV254. Let's try that. Oh, a pink, a cool pink is what Madder Rose is. Let's dilute that. Very nice diluted. Yeah, shows its true beauty when it's diluted. Now we have Opera Rose, which says fluorescent and it has no stars when it comes to its light fastness. So we can safely assume that this is not a light fast colour. And it's going to be bright. It's going to be bright. Just from the, yeah. Whoa. That is some serious pink energy going on there. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the inclusion of this. It says PR122 fluorescent. 122 is not, as far as I know, a not light fast colour, but a fluorescent PR122, I don't know. If anyone knows, let me know, but it has basically 0 stars. And rather than having a colour that has no star light fastness in this palette, I probably would have preferred something else. It is bright though. I'll give it that. Yeah, it is bright. Next we have Magenta Rose, which is PR122 again. So yeah, that kind of confirms what I believe, that PR122 on its own has a reasonable light fastness. It has a light fastness rating of 3 stars on the packet, whereas the fluorescent type, this one, has no stars. Interesting. We're learning here. We're learning that the fluorescent one definitely is one to avoid when it comes to the PR122. Magenta Rose. I'm very curious to see how this differs from the Opera Rose. Oh, it's much deeper. And so wonky. Circle, you are not behaving very well. Let's dilute that. I'm sorry if my voice has gone all croaky. I have been fighting off this cold, I don't know, for 10 days now. Just keeps coming and going, and one day I'm okay and the other day I have a very croaky voice. And it's coming back now. Oh yes, this is more violet. This is more violet leaning than that. I mean, I can see why they included a real, bright pink in a botanical, but again, no stars. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Okay, moving on to quinacridone violet, which is PB19 and PB15. So PB19 quinacridone and a PB15, which is a phthalo. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, I like that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with the PB19 and PB15. It's kind of come out as a very striking violet. That is very pretty. Let's dilute that. Really nice. Very, very pretty. Okay, so I'm going to have to move on to the second page now. So I'm going to move everything and come back and we will swatch the 12 next colours. I'm back and I'm not alone. Baloo has joined me on the table and yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye on him. Okay, Baloo. Hello, Baloo. What you want, Baloo? What you want? Okay. Yeah. Baloo. Oh, big yawn, big yawn. Why don't you go to bed? Why don't you go to your bed? Hey? Okay, he's down. Sorry about that. Now, so let's begin swatching the violet, PV23. Dioxazine. Oh my goodness, this is tremendously wonky. Very pretty though. Very pretty dioxazine. Diluted. There we go. Oh my goodness. Okay. The wonkiness is strong in this one. Very nice though. Very nice violet. So we have olive green next, which is PG17, PY1 and PBK7. So there's a black in this one. That is really nice. Not sure if it's very olivey, but it's very nice. Actually, I'm not sure if that is the correct colour. Is it? Okay, so I've just checked. This is not olive green. This is PG8, and it is one of my favourite greens. So ignore the heading there. I must have just put the greens in the wrong place. And yeah, I could see that was an olive green. And the one next to it looks much more olivey. So this is PG8 and this is green. I love this green so much. I'm not loving my circles, but I am loving the green. So next we have olive green. And let's have a look at that. Yes, that's much more like it. Very pretty. Add a little bit more. Dilute that. Really pretty. Next we have emerald green, which is PG7. Old friend PG7. Just a phthalo. Very, very bold colour. Definitely a colour that I would mix to use. I'd mix it with something else. It's a little bit too vibrant for me, but that's just a personal choice. Really nice though. Very pigmented. Very nice PG7. Next we have blue, which is PB15. Another phthalo, a blue this time. Very nice. Cool blue. Diluted. Very pretty. Next we have cobalt blue, which is PB28. I love that they have the original PB28 and it's not a mix of a phthalo and white. It is the original pigment. Let's pick up a a little bit more. Very nice cobalt blue. Much, I think, on the greener side, the cooler side. And we'll be interested to see if this granulates. We'll see when that dries how much it granulates. Next we have ultramarine, which is PB29. So we've got 3 greens and we've got 3 blues. Nice range. That is lovely. That is a very pretty ultramarine. See if that granulates. I am not seeing much granulation in this cobalt blue, which is a bit sad, but I would have preferred it to be a bit more granulating. Let's see if the ultramarine granulates. Yellow ochre next. This is a mixture of PY43 and PY42. Opaque. Quite dull in mass tone. Dilute that a little bit. See if we get any of that ochre glow when it's diluted. A little bit. It is quite dull. I prefer my ochres to be a bit brighter. Burnt sienna is next. See, this is PR101. Oh, this looks like a nice burnt sienna. It looks really pretty. Dilute it. Add a little bit more. See if there's any granulation happening. Again, not much granulation in the ultramarine. So yeah, the cobalt and the ultramarine are a bit flat. Next we have the umber, which is PBR7. Quite yellow leaning umber, almost green leaning. Nice. Let's dilute it. pretty. It is a pretty amber. Add a little bit more, hoping for a bit of granulation. Sepia, sepia, sepia is next. One day I will remember how to say it. This is an interesting mix. It has PBR7, PBK7 and PR177 in it. So there's a red in this as well. Ooh, that is nice. That is nice. Let's dilute that. That is a nice colour. And the final colour in this palette is called Black Grape, and it is a mix of PBK7, PV19 and PV3, which, yeah, this is an interesting mix. I wonder what it looks like. Ooh, very reddish black. I think its true nature will come through when I've diluted it. Let's dilute it. Yeah, I can see it already on the palette. Like it's a violet, like a dark black violet. Wonky, bonky circle, wonky. Okay, so all the colours have been swatched. I will let them dry completely and then I'll come back and talk about them a little bit. So now that the colours have dried, I thought I'd talk a little bit about, Louise just jumped up, about the colours in this palette. So the first thing that I notice is that there is a nice range of colours. There are cool yellows, warm yellows, cool reds, warm reds, two oranges, one deeper than the other, and two types of violets, three greens, three blues, and some earth colours. So it's a balanced out palette. It's a well thought out palette. The colours themselves are very nice. They're bright, they're pigmented, very easy to use on the paper. However, they're a little bit flat. I can't see much granulation in the ultramarine, and I definitely can't see almost any granulation in the cobalt blue, unless my eyes are tricking me somehow. No. They are quite flat, and I was a little bit taken aback by that. However, maybe botanical artists, most botanical artists don't want their colours to be very granulating. I would have thought they would want some granulation for texture, but okay, that is just me, you know, saying my thoughts out loud. Anyway, I would have preferred, as I said before, this Opera Rose not to be in the palette. I think the Madder Rose or just the PV19 by itself would have been sufficient, because it is like it's bright pink and it's really bold, and yes, it can be useful in botanicals, but it doesn't have any stars for light fastness. So as a botanical artist or any kind of artist, you would probably not want to use that. But unless you're using it in your sketchbook, and that's, you know, that's absolutely fine. I sometimes use colours that have really bad light fastness, but only in my sketchbook, not for something that I would pass on to someone else or it would see daylight. Anyway, but that again is my personal opinion. In the greens here, I do love a good PG8. I do love this colour. This convenience green here is really pretty as well. The emerald green is which is a PG7, very good for mixing. I would have probably expected there to be a PG36 in this, which is a warm phthalo green for mixing, especially as you got florals with botanicals, you've got, you know, lots of foliage. I think that would have been a handy colour to have in here, but that is just, again, personal preference. Yeah, I mean, the colours are absolutely fine, and you can't beat the price. The price is really good on these. Like, what did I say? I think I said 36 euros. Sorry, my voice is disappearing. 36 euros for 24 colours. That is a very good price. So I'm not going to be too judgmental about these colours. This is a solid watercolour palette. However, it has a few things that I would have changed, that I would have preferred it to be a little bit different. But again, personal preference. So yes, what do you think about this palette? I do like that Rosa Gallery makes these colours, and they are so affordable and available to many people who are especially starting out watercolours. So I'm going to commend them on using like the true cobalt blue, a PB28, for their cobalt blue, and not using a mix with a blue, a phthalo blue and a white, for instance. They're using ultramarine as well. I would, again, I've preferred a little bit more texture, a little bit more liveliness. They are a little bit flat, and it hurts me to say this because I really wanted to love this palette, and it doesn't mean that it isn't a good palette. It just means that, yeah, it lacks a bit of life. It is, yes, it is what it is. It is a very good palette for what it is and what it costs. I'll say that. Okay, so I hope I wasn't too judgmental, because I do love Rosa Gallery and their watercolours. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on this palette. Let me know what you think about this palette. If you have it and you've used it, I would be really interested in finding out what your thoughts are on this palette or other Rosa Gallery watercolours that you have used. That would be so interesting to find out and to learn from you. I'm going to leave you here with my awkward bit, which is, if you liked this video, please hit the like button, but only if you liked it. Because that helps the video's visibility on YouTube, the algorithm thingy. If you would like to see more videos from me, and I'm going to be doing all sorts. I've got all sorts planned. I've got painting, I've got sketching, I've got swatching, I've got, sketchbook work. I've got lots of things planned for the future, and if you would like to see those videos, please subscribe and hit the notification button so YouTube will let you know what video I have uploaded and when. Also, if you would like to leave a comment, I love your comments. Lastly, thank you for being here. And before I go, I am obviously going to say my little bit about hope, which is do not let go of it. And this time I am going to ask you to hold on to hope with me, because I have just done my MRI. Well, it's been like a week or so that I've done my MRI, and I am of my brain, and I am waiting to get the results. And I'm praying that everything is okay and that I have no new lesions on my brain because of my MS. So if you would like to, I'd be very grateful for you to hold on to hope with me this week, and hopefully everything will go well. Never let go of hope. Keep holding on to it. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Keep safe and keep creative till then. Bye bye for now. Bye. Bye. Bye.